Shalom. I do want to start off this lesson by saying all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. I do want to give double honor to the elders and apostle GREATMILLSTONE for teaching the truth by using precepts upon precepts and line upon line. In this lesson I do want to get into today is about a report lesson or a report video on Canadian Prep video about how NATO is sending troops to Ukraine. Alright, because basically Ukraine or NATO or America, because America is the leader of NATO, is basically being desperate of going to war against Russia. Alright, because the resources that they have is running out and they really need more resources to basically have control. Because you can't be a leader if you have nothing. Or you can't control people if you have nothing to control them with. And NATO nations are they're quickly losing interest in America because America's way of doing sanctions against Russia and them is really kind of hurting them. All right, so now America is basically being, how can I say, antsy. They're being worried of their leadership being falling apart. So now they're doing things that doesn't make sense, so they could do it, but the play is not gonna work because prophecy said what, that doesn't matter what America does against Russia, Russia is gonna destroy America. Why? Because America have done wickedness upon YAHAWASHI. Revelation 18:5, for her sins have reached unto heaven. America have been promoting sodomy, pedophilia, have raped, robbed, and murdered the children of Israel, kept them in captivity to this day, cross out YAHAWASHI. They have done all those things. And YAHAWASHI have seen it, and he's going to judge it accordingly. And we're seeing the judgment as, we're seeing this judgment in this day and age. Alright, so it doesn't matter what America do, doesn't matter what, what America thinks of, it is going to be utterly destroyed. Alright, so let's get Isaiah 13 verse 1, the burden of Babylon. And we know this Babylon is not talking about the one in the day and age, or back in the days, is because the judgment that we're about to read is not the judgment that Babylon faced back in the days. The old Babylon faced a strategical strike of basically where the Persian, the Medes, basically took out the leader and it done. But this Babylon is talking about how Babylon will be utterly burnt in fire and everything will be utterly destroyed and nobody won't be able to live in it. Alright, that's not what happened back in the days. Alright, but since we know that's not what happened back in the days, most likely this prophecy is talking about what? The future prophecy of America this day and age. Because America is just another land of confusion, or another land of what? Babylon the Great. So Isaiah 13 verse 1, it says this, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Alright, because this is the burden that's about to come to pass to America, Babylon the Great, for her wickedness have reached unto heaven. Let's go down to go straight to the point. It says this, behold, I'll stir up the Medes against them, and those are the Russians, which shall not regard silver as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Russia is not basically Russia is raised up against America, and they don't care about the currency, they don't care about the power. Why? Because they are angry of what America doings. Their bows also shall dash young men to pieces. What are the bows talking about? The ICBM missiles, their nukes, their warheads. They're going to dash American to pieces. And they shall have no pity on the fruits of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Because when those bows be launched to one continent and another and reach to America, those nukes are not going to care about what's happening in America. They're going to do what they're created to do. And basically they're created to be what? Wasters, destroyers. So they're not going to have no pity on the fruits of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare no children. Alright, and Babylon, the glory kingdoms, beauty, excellency, Childish excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. How did YAHAWASHI overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah? With fire and brimstone. He's going to do the same thing again in these days time we're about to get into. America's going to be utterly destroyed with fire and brimstone, for her wickedness have reached unto heaven. And we're about to see it in this day and age. Alright, and the news report that I'm about to play is evident. Alright, because America is being very antsy, very, how can I say, desperate. So now they're making moves thinking that it's going to help them, but it's really not. Because now Russia is saying, no, we're standing on our ground. Continue playing this bullshit and watch how fast we'll be utterly destroyed. And we're seeing it as we speak. Alright, so the video is I'm going to play like 5 minutes of it because you guys should watch it. Good information. should subscribe to him. But that's not one of the scripture I want to grab you. That's what I was thinking in my head when I was like, how can I say, when I was watching the report. All right, so let's play it real quick.
Breaking news. This is your World War III emergency update, and this is the reddest of red alert I think I've ever given. They're getting ready to do it. They're actually going to do it. Even I'm surprised, in spite of the fact that I was the first person to break this story months ago when I talked about the expedition.
Yeah, but the elder Apostle Tahar, all the way down from GMS and Prophets of Babylon with the affiliates, been prophesied about this before you even thought of the idea that this is actually going to come true. All right, so you could say you broke it down. Well, the elder Apostle Tahar, all the elders of GREATMILLSTONE, all the way down, have been prophesying it since I was born. All right, so
force that
you just found proof that they was actually telling the truth.
Well, not NATO, under the guise of a new coalition of the willing, and on the basis of bilateral security guarantees that they were going to send troops into Ukraine. Now, ask yourself this question. Is it a coincidence that they happen to have this emergency meeting at the same time that they just incidentally have 100,000 NATO troops positioned at the Polish border, getting ready to enter into Ukraine? Do you think that's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence, okay? They've been talking about this for a long time, and Russian intelligence has known about this. This is why we were able to source that information. We're not blinded by our own biases here, and I try to leverage all of the open source intelligence that I can find, and we try to not succumb to propaganda, but at the same time we are open. And the Russians knew that this very meeting was going to happen right about now. And here we go. So Emmanuel Macron is leading this new group, okay? They're not even calling it NATO because they don't want to trigger that technicality, that Article 5, which might lead to nuclear Armageddon.
Slakia, Obadiah 1 and 3, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cleft from the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in the heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Or America is being prophet right now, making stupid decisions like this, putting leaders up and putting these other, how can I say, puppet armies just to bother America, because everybody around the world knows that America is the one who's controlling these things. All right, and the reason why I bring out the scriptures is because they're prideful, is deceiving them, believing that nobody doesn't think that, when that's not the case. People really do believe, do know what America is doing it. And since their pride have deceived them, thinking that they're being slick, they're going to be utterly destroyed. And basically, that's what we're seeing right now. So let's continue playing.
Putin has explicitly stated, at least a couple of years ago, that we don't think we can defeat you conventionally because NATO has 1 billion people. It's got a massive GDP, especially when you include the United States, and they got a lot of weapons. So conventionally, the Russians would be ultimately strategically defeated. Maybe some Russophiles would disagree right now. We're talking about what Vladimir Putin himself stated in a speech 2.5 years ago, okay? This is not me saying this. This is Vlad himself who said that we don't think that we're at parity with you in conventional terms. So, ergo, we must utilize nuclear weapons if it ever came down to it. Now, knowing how judicious the Russians are, and knowing how litigious and technical they are with respect to the implementation of international law, some people might not believe that considering they invaded a country, but trust me, the Russians care about that stuff, okay? This is probably why they haven't destroyed Kiev already. The reason these guys are hoping that they can circumvent this technicality of it not being NATO and that Russia is not going to do anything about it, because here's what's going to happen. They are going to, or they ultimately, what they want to do is put uniformed troops in on the ground to act as a bit of a bulwark against Russian advancement, because I think they think that if they can get their troops into Ukraine, that the Russians aren't going to target them directly because they don't want to start a broader conflict. Because here's what's going to happen. they're going to form these logistical chains, and they're going to be reinforcing the rear. This is going to free up the Ukrainians to fight the Russians on the front. This is going to allow for the free flow of weapons into the country, which will allow them to push back the Russians utilizing conventional weapons, and ultimately, hopefully, defeat the Russians strategically, because Europe's future, and this is what a lot of people forget, the only way that Europe has a future at this point in time is if they can get cheap Russian energy. There is no industrial future for Europe without cheap Russian energy.
If they don't have no cheap cheap energy resources, their base gonna be broken down and utterly destroyed. So America's being desperate right now. America's the leader of NATO, and who's making these decisions? America. So they're being desperate, and now they really need the resources now before it's too late. Because as soon as everybody realizes that America ain't shit and they don't have no resources, no power, and the military power is just bad because the generation is just effeminized, it is screwed. And that's what's about to come to pass. America downfall is about to come as we speak, before your eyes. Before your eyes, it's gonna come down. And Slovakia, if I sound, slurpy, because I'm really tired right now. All right, so forgive me, but low will you understand what I'm saying? Okay, that's not what I expected to happen.
If you haven't seen the video that we did with Nate Hagens, who's a natural resource expert who talks about the global energy crunch and how it pertains to this geopolitical situation we're in, you need to watch it. Because what is happening right now is that the United States, for whatever reason, didn't really like the arrangement that they had with Vladimir Putin and Nord Stream. For whatever reason, this whole keep the U.S. in and the Germans down and the Russians out type thing, that's what's going on. So what they want is to have a puppet government in Russia. Let's just be brutally honest about what's happening here. Europe needs cheap energy. Right now, they're looped into this liquid natural gas racket with the United States, and that's costing them a lot of money. It's leading to deindustrialization. It's leading to all these protests and the farmer stuff, and it's all related. Okay, it all ties together. It all goes back to cheap energy. If you have cheap energy, you're going to have a prosperous, growing GDP. If you don't, you're going to have domestic crises. You're going to have civil unrest, civil war, and just total collapse. So either they can strategically defeat the Russians, or the Russians can strategically defeat them. The question is, are the Russians going to allow themselves to be strategically defeated? And I think the answer is no, because they've explicitly stated as such.
And scripture says that YAHAWASHI shall raise up the Medes to go against Babylon to destroy it. And that's about to come to pass. America pridefulness has deceived themselves. All right. And who basically controls America? Esau, Edom. But ain't not Russia, Esau, Edom? Yes, it is. So it's like what? A kingdom. I forgot what's it called. I know it's in the book of Matthew. Well, let me grab it real quick. I know it's about Egypt against Egypt, but nation against nation can't stand. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, kingdom against each other. Okay, hold on. Slovakia. Kingdom against each other. I said kingdom against each other. What the heck? That's what I'm looking for. I know it's in a book of, okay, hold on. Slovakia. Nation can't stand if it's a divided. Mark 3:25, and if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. All right, right now we're living in a house of Esau, Edom. This is the kingdom of his world. All right, and right now two of them, or Esau and Edom, are fighting each other. And can this fight be good for their kingdom? No, because what's going to happen is it's going to fall apart, and that's what's about to come to pass. And what's going to fall apart? What's going to come to pass? America's going to be utterly destroyed. Russia's going to be down there, not a leadership anymore. And YAHAWASHI is going to come down and take over rulership. All right, and bring judgment upon all the other nations for what they have done to the children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American. And that's what we're about to get into. All right, all these things you're seeing, all these woes, all these, America doing stupid stuff, is going according to prophecy. Why? To fulfill what YAHAWASHI want to happen, of what America destruction and of his rulership. All right. Well, that's all I want to get into today. Lord, we edified by this lesson. I do want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH for giving me spirit through this lesson. I do want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching the truth by using precept upon precepts and line upon line. Shalom.